Since it opened its doors in Los Angeles in 1973, East West Bank has served as a critical institution for Chinese Americans often overlooked by other banks. For 50 years, the focus of its business has been to build financial and cultural bridges between the U.S., immigrant communities, and Asia. So it's not out of the ordinary, then, that last July, President Biden appointed the man who has been East West Bank's CEO for 30 years, Dominic Ng, to chair Biden's Asia-focused Business Advisory Council. But last week, a group of House Republicans decided to take it upon themselves to write a letter to the FBI, demanding that Mr. Ng be investigated for potentially violating the Espionage Act. Their allegation is that this prominent Chinese-American businessman, whose bank is all about connecting the East and the West, was secretly connected to China. Specifically, they allege that Ng served in leadership roles in two groups that were allegedly fronts for Chinese intelligence. Democratic Congresswoman Judy Chu and several other members of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus responded by publishing their own statement defending Mr. Ng and the extensive vetting he went through before that appointment. Now, I want you to hear how Republican Lance Gooden of Texas, he's one of the Republican members who sent that letter to the FBI in the first place. Hear how he responded to Congresswoman Chu. This is what he said about the first Chinese-American woman elected to Congress, who is the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus.
I think that Judy Chu needs to be called out, and I think that if she was an Intelligence Committee member this week, that Kevin McCarthy would be taking her off the committee.
Do you think Congresswoman Chu should be looked into?
I think everyone that's standing up for Chinese Communist parties should be looked into. Yes, I question her either loyalty or competence. If she doesn't realize what's going on, then she's totally out of touch with one of her core constituencies. I think she has drug along the other Chinese American members to sign this letter. But I do think she's the ringleader, and I'm really disappointed and shocked that someone like Judy Chu would have a security clearance and be entitled to confidential intelligence briefings until this is figured out.
Joining us now is California Congresswoman Judy Chu, the first Chinese-American woman ever elected to Congress and, of course, the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. Congresswoman Chu, thank you for being with me tonight. I'm sorry that it has to be under these circumstances, but I'd first just like to get your reaction to the Congresswoman who had a lot to say about you, calling you a ringleader, questioning your loyalty and competence, suggesting your security clearance should be revoked. Your thoughts?
Congressmember Gooden's comments questioning my loyalty to the U.S. is absolutely outrageous and disgusting. It's based on false information spread by an extreme right-wing website. But furthermore, it's racist. I very much doubt that he'd be spreading these lies were I not of Chinese-American descent. In my opinion, it's McCarthyism at its worst, and it's downright dangerous. Making ugly and false accusations like this puts a target on my back for something that is not true. And in fact, it just perpetuates the stereotype that Asian Americans are foreigners in their own land, no matter how many generations they've been in this country or are like me and were born and raised in this country. But we have to look at where this is coming from. Congressmember Gooden appears to sympathize with violent insurrectionists and spreads big lies to the American people, having voted not to certify the election of President Biden, and in fact is one of those extreme MAGA Republicans in the House that are focused on baseless conspiracy theories.
Yeah, the xenophobia and the nativism and the race baiting is not even subtle in the commentary, calling you a ringleader, suggesting you're dragging along other Chinese American members and you're not loyal or either loyal or competent, questioning your ability to serve in Congress. There's a lot to say about this, but for those who did not hear your initial pushback on the contention that the businessman in question, Mr. Ng, is an agent of Chinese intelligence, can you explain why you're confident that he should serve in the position that President Biden appointed him to?
Dominic Ng is an icon in the AAPI community. He brought this bank from a time when it was very small and when there was such a necessity to be able to have loans for the local Asian American community to a nationwide bank, and he's highly respected by many, certainly in the AAPI community, but also in the entire community. Of course, he was vetted extensively for this APEC position. And we need him right now, actually, because we want to create closer ties with the other Asian countries so that we can make sure that we have allies in Asia, as indeed our competitiveness with China becomes more tense. So he is somebody that definitely should serve in this position. And it is just horrendous that they would try to ruin his reputation with baseless lies.
Yeah, and I think it's important to hear what you're saying, because the rights vilification of this individual, the rights targeting of you as a defender of this individual has been unabashed and unfounded. And it's coming at a moment where Asian Americans increasingly find themselves targets of hate nationwide. I mean, if you look at the number in the state of California, which you represent in Congress, look at the numbers of reports of anti-Asian hate crimes from 2012 to 2021. I mean, the number, that's 247 incidents in 2021. I mean, what do we need to be doing differently as a society? And what do we need to tell the purveyors of this hate, some of whom sit in the U.S. Congress?
Well, we have to tell them to stop these baseless conspiracy theories, and they have to stop perpetuating the foreigner in their own land stereotype, and they have to stop having stereotypes such as when Trump called the pandemic the China virus and even Kung flu, because by making it seem like China was responsible for the world's shutdown, he put a target on the backs of all Asian Americans in this country. In fact, there were those because of that who wanted to kill AAPIs because of their anger about COVID. And so this accusation of Chinese Americans being disloyal to this country only exacerbates the ugly feelings that there are about AAPIs. After all, this anti-Asian hate, which did result in 11,500 anti-Asian hate crimes over these last 3 years. And so we must stop that. And I hope that every decent American will call out these Republican conspiracy, MAGA Republicans out on this and tell them that they have to stop this for the sake of this country.
Well, we know that you are playing your part in calling them out, and I think a nation is grateful for that. California Congresswoman Judy Chu, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.